class. So I said, so S here stands for sine, O for opposite, and H for hypotenuse. So look at that. The question says sine theta is minus 3 over 5. So opposite is 3 units. Hypotenuse is 5. So we need to find the adjacent. Of course, you know that from your Pythagoras theorem, you should be able to find that. Pythagoras theorem says the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the opposite and the adjacent sides. Now the hypotenuse is 5, so we need to find this side. Now let's call this the adjacent. Now if this is the adjacent, if you do your mathematics well, make adjacent the subject of the formula, you're going to have hypotenuse squared minus opposite squared. Now let's replace what we have there. Hypotenuse is 5 squared minus 3 squared, and this is 25 minus 9. 25 minus 9 gives you 16. Remember, this is the square of the adjacent. To find the adjacent, all we need to do is take the square root of both sides. If we do that, we'll have the adjacent to be square root of 16, which is 4. So this is 4. Now, to find cosine, it says we should find cos theta. Now, cos theta is simply, remember, from your SOHCAHTOA, if this is so, ka would be cos, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, so adjacent, the adjacent side is the side where the angle is lying on. The opposite side is the side that is facing the angle, and the hypotenuse is always the longer side. Now, both of these are not constant. They can change at any time, but the hypotenuse is always constant. Now, they can change depending on where the angle is. Look at this. If I put the angle here, this will become opposite. This is adjacent, but this remains constant. Hypotenuse is the longer side of the right angle triangle, and it is constant. Now, let's look at the cosine of that. Let's find the cosine. Cos theta is simply adjacent, which is 4 over hypotenuse, which is 5. So cos theta is 4 over 5 from here. But the question says that theta lies in the third quadrant. Remember that in the third quadrant, cosine is also negative. It means then that cos theta would be minus 4 over 5. Minus 4 over 5. So the answer to that question is option D, minus 4 over 5. Now this is bearing and distances under trigonometry. Now this bearing is simply talking about direction, distance and direction. Alright, now let's solve the question. The question says x is due east of a point y on the coast rather. Now z or z is another point on the coast, but 6 kilometers due south of y. If the distance zx is 12 kilometers, calculate the bearing of z from x. Okay, so x is due east of a point y on the coast. Z is another point on the coast, but 6 kilometers due south of y. If the distance zx is 12 kilometers, calculate the bearing of x, z plus from x. Now, this is very important to do. This is your north, your east, called cardinal points, right? If you remember elementary mathematics, north, east, west, and south. So we solve the question. X is due east of. Now the word due there tells you that that position is just on the straight line to where, or the direction, or the cardinal point that was quoted. What that means is this: x is due east of y, so we have y. This is east of y, the straight line that goes east. This is x, so that is y, and this is x. So I'm going to do this to simplify my work. Now the next line says z is another point on the coast, but it is 6 kilometers due south of y. Due south is a straight line that goes south. So this is z, and 6 kilometers due south of y. Next it says if the distance zx is 12 kilometers, so you join x to z, 12 kilometers. Question is, calculate the bearing of z from x. So what I did here, I'm going to do the same here to make the work easy for me. Now, this is east, this is south. If you remember the previous question I solved, I told you, just like we talked about the quadrant, the angle between this and this is 90. So this is 90 degrees. This shape is a triangle, not just a triangle, a right-angled triangle. So this angle is what we want to find. We're going to find this angle. We're told to find the bearing of z from x. Please note that bearing is calculated from or measured from the north. From the north clockwise. The north clockwise. That is, if you're doing the three-figure bearings. There are two types of bearings. We have three-figure bearings, and we also have your compass bearing. Now, three-figure bearing does not specify the direction. It doesn't talk about the north, the east, or the west, or the south. But the compass bearing talks about the direction, using the north, the east, the west, or the south. Now, let's quickly solve that question. Look at this. We want to find this angle. This side is opposite the angle. This is the hypotenuse, and that is sine, right? Because from your SOHCAHTOA, sine has to do with opposite and hypotenuse. This is opposite and this is hypotenuse. So sine theta is 6 over 12. Now 6 over 12 is 1 over 2. Now the question is, what angle, the sine of what angle gives you 1 over 2? Now if you have a calculator, but you don't have that kind of calculator in JAMB because you have your computer board calculator. Now the sine of what angle gives you 1 over 2 is simply 30 degrees. 30 degrees. Now this is a special angle. You should memorize that. Let me quickly run through. There are 4 of them, 4 of the special angles I'm going to quickly teach you, and you can put that somewhere in your head so that if you have to work, it will be very easy for you. Now sine theta is 1 over 2. Sine 30 is 1 over 2. Cos 30 degrees is root 3 over 2. And tan 30 degrees is root 3 over 3. Sine 60 degrees is root 3 over 2. Cos 60 degrees is 1 over 2. And tan 60 degrees is root 3. Sine 45 degrees is root 2 over 2. Cos 45 degrees is root 2 over 2. And tan 45 degrees is 1. Sine 90 degrees is 1. Cos 90 degrees is 0. Well, you would not see questions on tan 90 degrees because you don't have an exact value. This is actually infinity. So nobody gives a question that includes or has to be 90, tan 90 degrees. So now the theta is 30 degrees. So our theta here is 30 degrees. Note the question says we should find the bearing of z from x. So look at this. If I make this complete, if I move from here to here, more like moving from here to here, I'll have gone 90 degrees. From here to here, another 90. So that's adding up or summing up to 180 degrees. So if this is 30, it's more like doing it like this. Look at this. This is 30. What do you think this angle would be? Simply 90 minus 30. So this would be 60 degrees. So if I add 60 to 180 that I have here, that gives me the bearing of z from x. 60 plus 180 is 240 degrees. So the bearing of z from x is 240 degrees, which is option A. Take note of that. Now look at the next question. The angles of a quadrilateral are these. Please, I want you to pay attention to what I'm doing here because I'll make reference to something that I taught you earlier when I started the video. I told you I gave you some tips on how to solve questions in your JAMB Mathematics. Now, very easy. I'm going to solve that question in one way, and then I'll give you another way of solving that question. A quadrilateral is simply, now remember the quadrant. I talked about quadrant earlier. We just did something else. Look at this quadrant. Remember the quadrant. Quadrilateral is any shape that has 4 sides. Okay. Now, a quadrilateral, the angles of a quadrilateral are 5x minus 30, 4x plus 60, 60 minus x and 3x plus 61. Find the smallest of these angles. Very, very simple. Now remember, a quadrilateral has 4 sides. So the sum of angles in a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. I can give you a formula for that. That, if you remember this formula, this was used for your polygons. We're going to use that in the next, in another question. Now, remember the number of sides is 4. So 4 minus 2 times 180. 4 minus 2 is 2 times 180 degrees, which confirms what I said earlier, is 360 degrees. So the sum of angles in a quadrilateral is 360 degrees. So we add up all this. 5x minus 30 plus 4x plus 60 plus 60 minus x plus 3x plus 61 should give us 360 degrees. So let's collect like terms. 5x, I have 4x, I have minus x, I have 3x. So this one we have minus 30, and then plus 60, another 60, and 61 should be 360. Now look at this. This is 9x, 12x. So 9x minus 1x is 8x. 8x plus 3x is 11x. Now minus 30 plus 60 takes 30 away from 60, you're left with 30. So this is 90, 151 equals to 360. So if we take this over here, I have 11x is 360 minus 151. So you can do that. 360, 151. This is 9, this is 0, this is 209. 209. So if I divide 209 by, so this 11x is 209. If I divide by both sides by 11, I'm going to have, this would give me 19. So 19 plus or times 11 is the simplest way to do that, 209. So x is 19. So we can put that here, the values of the values of x. This is actually a long method, but I'm going to use that. When I finish this, I'll teach you a shorter method. So remember, I told you earlier that look for shortcuts. It's very important because JAMB doesn't care about how you solve the question. All they care about is your answer to the question. When you're doing WAEC, I'm taking pains because if you see a question like this in WAEC, of course most of you will be writing WAEC. You should know how to solve the question. So let's go. Now, let's go. We can substitute that. 5 times 19 minus 30. Now, 5 times 19 is 95. 95 minus 30. So this would give us 65. 4 times 19 plus 60. 4 times 19 is 76. 76 plus 60 is 136. 76 plus, yes, 136. Now this one is 60 minus 19. 60 minus 19 is 31. Sorry, 41, I beg your pardon. 41. And then here we have 3x plus 61. 3 times 19 is 57. 57 plus this will give me 118. So you can tell from here that the smallest of the angles is 60 minus x. Now that is the answer, which is option C. But I told you about giving you a shortcut. Now look at this. Look at all the angles. 5x minus 30. 4x plus 60. 60 minus x. 3x plus 61. Notice that this, and this are a multiple of x. Whereas this one is subtracted from 60. So ideally, without even using your pencil, you can tell the answer to this question. This is the answer. Because whatever you have as x will be subtracted from 60. So that's the shortest cut. So you don't need, you can save yourself the stress of going through all of this. Now let's go to the next question. Each of the interior angles of a regular polygon is 140 degrees. How many sides has the polygon? Each of the interior angles of a regular. The word there, the key word there is regular. Now a polygon is any shape that has straight sides. Now each of the regular polygon, regular there implies that the polygon, all the sides are equal. When you say a shape or a polygon is a regular polygon, it means all the sides are equal. Now this is the formula for looking for the sum of angles in a polygon. I think I used this in the previous question. N minus 2, 180. So now the number of sides is what we're told to find. We don't know. Now, so how do we find this? This is the formula. N minus 2, 180 will give us, because the polygon is regular. Now, each of the angle is 140. So 140 times the number of the angles. Let me explain this. Look at this way. The sum of, let's talk about regular. There's nothing like a regular triangle, or we say an equilateral triangle. But we can use that formula that I gave you, this formula, to find the sum of angles in a triangle. Now, the triangle has 3 sides. So if we have 3 minus 2, 180. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 times 180 is 180 degrees. This tells you that the sum of angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. Now, look at it this way. Look at this way. Now, how do we find the sum of angles in a triangle? Knowing that for an equilateral triangle, every angle there is the same. All the angles are equal. So each angle is 60 degrees. So we can apply that here. 60 times 3 will give us 180 degrees. So what we're trying to say is, if the triangle, or rather the polygon, is regular, for 140 degrees, what each angle is. To find the sum of angles in the polygon, we just do 140 times the number of sides. So this is the formula for finding the sum of angles. We can also apply this. This is equal to this. So let's open the bracket. If we open the bracket, we have 180n minus 360 degrees equals to 140n. When we collect like terms, we have 180n minus 140n. This comes in here, this goes out, which is 360 degrees. So this is 40n equals to 360. If I divide both sides by 40, I have n equals to 9. So the polygon has 9 sides. So how many sides has the polygon? A is the correct option, 9. Next question. The angle of a sector of a circle of radius 10.5 centimeters is 48 degrees. Calculate the perimeter of the circle. The word perimeter is simply the distance round. Now for circle, we don't say perimeter, we say circumference. But perimeter means distance round the circle. Now if you don't even know what a sector is, how do you find or solve that question? Now let me take you back to circles. Now you must have been taught circles. Now this is a circle. If I have this as a circle, every circle has a center. So what is a sector? A sector is simply an area bounded by 2 radii. Radii is plural of radius. This is a radius, this is another radius. So we see 2 radii and an arc. So you see, this is a sector. Just like you have your pizza. Okay, you know, this is, if you buy pizza, if you like pizza like I do, this is how it is sectioned. Okay, so you can pick the slices from here. So this is a sector. A radius, another radius, an arc. So this is a sector. So it says that the angle of a sector of a circle of radius 10.5 centimeters is 48 degrees. Calculate the perimeter. So perimeter is distance round. So we're going to do this plus this plus this. So the distance, the perimeter of the sector is giving us r plus the length of an arc. R plus the length of an arc. R plus r is 2r plus arc length. The length of an arc is simply theta over 360 times 2 pi r. Now remember 2 pi r. 2 pi r is the circumference of a circle. And since an arc is a part of the circumference, is a fraction of the circumference, that's why we say theta over 360 times 2 pi r. Let's quickly apply. Now we're given r. We're given r is 10.5 centimeters. And then we have the angle to be 48. So we have 2 10.5 plus 48 degrees over 360 plus 2 times pi times r. Now pi is 22 over 7. We can use 22 over 7 times r. Sorry, let me use another part of the board for space. For 1 to space, so we have 2r, which is 2 times 10.5 plus theta, which is, the theta is 48 over 360 times 2 times 22 over 7 times r. R there is the radius, which is 10.5. Now we can solve. Now it's very easy to solve. How do we solve the question? So we go, 12 can go into 48, 4 times, 12 here, 30 times. Now, 2 can go here, how many times? 2 times, and here, 15 times. as you can see it. Now, this is 7. 7 can go into 10.5, 1.5 times. Okay, so when we can do that, now remember this is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 22 is 88. 2 times 10.5 is 21. Okay, plus this is 88 times 1.5 over 15. 15 can go here 0.1 time. So that will leave me with 21 plus 8.8. If I add that up, I have 29.8 centimeters. 29.8 centimeters is option D. Now this is another very interesting question. This is under coordinate geometry. Coordinate geometry is one topic under trig, geometry and trigonometry. Now P and Q are those points. These are the coordinates. They have the coordinates. They are two ends of the diameter of a given circle. Two ends. I'll just go quickly to solve. I'll quickly give you the formula to find that. Now, if you have, we already have a circle here, so let's use the circle that we have. We have the circle. A diameter is simply a line that is drawn from the circumference through the center to another part of the circumference. So they said this is P and Q have their coordinates. Minus 6, 1, and Q is 6, 6. The question says there are two ends of the diameter, we should calculate the radius. Now we need to find the distance between these 2 points. Let me quickly give you the formula here. So distance between 2 points, A and B, is giving us AB is the square root of y2 minus y1 squared plus x2 minus x1 squared. Now I'll give you two other formula. If you're told to find the midpoint of a line, the midpoint of a line is also in coordinates. So the midpoint is simply x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. Now this is coordinate of midpoint. Coordinate of midpoint. Now there are other things. This is the equation of a straight line. The equation of a straight line is giving us y is mx plus c. This is equation of a straight line. In case you are asked, you can put that down. Y equals to mx plus c. So this distance between 2 points, this is midpoint of a line, and then this is equation of a straight line. Let's quickly do this. Now what do we have? We have P, which has coordinate minus 6 and 1, and Q has coordinate 6, 6. So I'm going to use this as x1, this is y1, x2, y2. So if we apply that there, PQ will simply be the square root of, remember that, y2, this is y2, 6 minus 1, all squared, this is y1, plus x2 is 6 minus 6, take note of that, squared. So this will give me the square root of 5 squared plus minus times minus is plus, 6 plus 6 is 12. So 5 plus 12 squared. And that, if you do your math very well, 25 plus 144 is 169. And the square root of 169 is 13. That is the distance of the diameter. But it says we should find the radius. So the radius is half of the diameter. So this radius is simply diameter over 2, which is 13 over 2, which gives me 6.5 centimeters. That's the answer. 6.5 is option A. Thank you. We'll be right back.